Today's episode is brought to you by Manscaped, the leaders in below the waistline grooming. And shout out to them and their Lawnmower 4.0 that does an amazing job at keeping us feeling nice and groovy, baby. Keeping that hair short. You got to keep the grass low so the tree will continue to show. And when we're talking about the Lawnmower 4.0 specifically, though, man, the cool light feature that it has, be able to turn it on and off. Doesn't matter if it's a lot of light in your shower or not a lot of light where you're shaving yourself at. Either way, you'll have that there for you. Also, it is waterproof, so you can use it in the shower or not. But either way, it is a cool and awesome situation that they have with that Lawnmower 4.0. But as we always do, if we're going to talk about it, we got to be about it. And the only way to be about it is by having a promo code. And that promo code is MOATS. You use that, you get to 20% off along with free shipping worldwide at Manscaped.com. So let's make sure your dangly twins are not scary since Halloween is coming up. Shave it. Keep it looking nice and tight, all right? Manscaped, Manscaped, Manscaped.
We start off with the receivers. Really, their main two, because after Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, it kind of drops off a little bit. Even though they got Cedric Wilson over from the Cowboys, hasn't really been doing too much. But their top two receivers are Tyreek Hill, we would consider top 5. Jalen Waddle's probably getting into that top 15 stratosphere already. 700.
Well, shoot, both of them dudes are top 5 in the league right now. Tyreek
just in terms of stats,
in terms of receiving yards, Tyreek lead the leagues with like 700 something.
Yep, 701, 2 touchdowns,
with like 580 or something like that. Yeah.
Yep, Waddle's at 533 and 3 touchdowns. Yeah. And the thing that they bring to the table, and what's unique about this little duo, is the explosive plays and how they could take the top off the defense. And the thing we weren't expecting the Dolphins to be able to do, even though they do have these speedsters, is to do that. And Tua has been able to whenever he's been in the game, at least. Now, I feel like it's a little bit more fluky than sustainable, at least when Tua started those first 3 or 4 games. But it has given them or led to some of their success thus far. So I'm going to say they're 2 receivers, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, I would agree. That's the ones I started with as well, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, because it's not just Tua that they are explosive like that with. You watch Teddy Bridgewater in this last game, man, when he was out there, even he's able to get explosive plays out of Tyreek. Tyreek ended up with, 130, 150, something like that this past game with the combination. It was Skylar Thompson and Teddy Bridgewater, man, a.k.a. Teddy Two Gloves. But that's what both of those guys are able to do, and they do a good job in terms of how they utilize them dudes, man. Just scheming them open, man, making sure that regardless of which quarterback is going to be out there, they're going to organically create shot plays for them. And the way that they set it up off of like some of the play action, it messes with your keys. It's like as a defender, I'm like, man, I know I should sit back here, but everything makes me have to acknowledge this and respect this, because if I don't and you actually do hand it off, then we're giving up runs because you actually do got some good running backs
or even
as well,
some short passes, because they'll force feed them too.
They absolutely will, man. They absolutely will. But
which is smart. They're really good.
Yeah, both they're really good, and they're rewarding them. You know, in terms of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, when they get targets, man, even when it is force fed, they take a 3-yard pass and turn it into a 17-yard pickup, and you're like, bro, how did that happen? Like, that's not supposed to be happening, but both of those dudes give you that type of dynamic, man. They make their offense really explosive when everything tells you when you're watching it that this is not an explosive offense.
My second one, their tight end, Mike Gesicki. Now, this one goes back to, the Patriots. I remember we talked about their tight ends. I like their combination of Jonnu Smith and also Hunter Henry. But the thing about the Patriots, and I also feel the same way about Miami, is they're not utilizing Mike Gesicki in this new Mike McDaniel offense.
That's because Gesicki can't gritty. You seen how horrible his man, bro? What?
He gave a good attempt.
I ain't know who him and Adam Thielen. I'm like, bro, both of y'all need to go just retire y'all gritties. Y'all doing them back to back too. I'm like, yo, and you got Justin Jefferson in the whole stadium too. I'm like, yo, y'all see the difference? It's night and day. Like, geez, man, look, you can gritty better than that, right?
I've never attempted.
I'm sure we look better than that though. I just believe in you, Deke.
Thanks.
Cause you Deke, bro. That. Oof.
I got some swag.
Yeah, maybe it's because he went to Penn State. That's probably why.
Maybe.
Yeah, Penn State dude.
Well, what's funny?
No surprise.
What's funny though is Gesicki's being floated around in some trade rumors too. And you know what I was thinking. Now I love Zach Gentry, but wouldn't it be nice? Gesicki Freiermuth combo.
You think you're gonna? What you giving up to get him?
We're not, because his
Bro, this-
contract's
what?
like $10 million or something too.
Absolutely. Hey,
It's
nice,
not
bro.
gonna work.
What? He's nice.
No, he's being talked about in trade rumors. That's all I'm saying, because he's not being utilized.
Nice, bro. He's nice, bro. It'd be like, I don't think they would do that on top of, because I'm just thinking to myself, like, the Pat Frymouth dynamic. Pat is trying to surpass where Matt's at right now.
I know.
Yeah, so it's like, yo, and they went to the same school. That'd be
I'm just
crazy.
I'm just saying. That'd be kind of nice.
It would be.
It could be our version of the Patriots having like Gronk and Hernandez.
On Phil, I like that a lot.
Gesicki and Frymouth.
Yeah, I would like that a lot.
It's not happening, but it
How
just got
would
me
we-
thinking.
Like, our offense would be so just, we don't know what we want to do. We want to feature these tight ends today.
Yeah, we got so many stud
We got so much
receivers,
going
too.
on. Like,
We got Najee and Jalen Warren.
What? No, we playing everything out of empty because I'm gonna need all three of my receivers on the field and my two tight ends. So yeah, it ain't looking good for my running game right now.
Yeah, this year for him, he only has 170 yards.
Yeah, That's
3
yeah,
touchdowns.
in terms of the targets, is down.
But yeah, I just think he's overall a
Yeah.
really good player. I don't know if they're going to try to utilize him more because outside of Hill and Waddle, you got to start getting a third guy involved.
Yeah,
You're going to have to. So yeah, they're tight
All right.
end, even though he's not being utilized as much.
fair enough. Fair enough. For me, I got to talk about the homie Xavier Howard. Love me a man-to-man corner. I love me a corner that can create turnovers. And Xavier's been one of those dudes that's been doing this for a while now, doing it at an extremely high level. And, you know, he still does it. And the thing that I like about him, too, it's kind of in that sense of like when you hear Coach Simon talk about the gunfighters, man, you know, sometimes you're going to get shot, but sometimes you're going to shoot people as well, man, in terms of that cowboy, you know, moniker and that thought process. And when I watch Xavier, I'm just looking at him like, yo, he that bad dude out there just facing everybody one-on-one. It doesn't matter who they are. He's going at them. And yeah, some of these dudes have had success on him, man.
Particularly this year.
Yeah. And this is due for him. This is new in terms of seeing this level of guys have success. But he's still one of them dudes, man, that gets it done at a high level, man. So, you know, I had to shout him out, man, because I'm a big fan of his game.
Okay, my third one. I'm going to go with McDaniel.
Okay.
I think he's a funny guy. I think
He's
could.
very funny. He kind of reminds me of you, bro.
He
has
glasses.
Yeah, it's like the glasses he has like that. Like, is he being serious or is he not?
Sure.
Like, kind of how you are at times. It's like, I think he's being fun. I think he's joking right here. Or maybe he's not. I kind of like this guy.
I think he's got a good personality. Obviously, he reinvigorated something down there in Miami
Yeah.
where there's a buzz. They started off 3-0 and everything. Tua gets hurt, so that hasn't helped them over the last 3 games. I was thinking about putting Tua on the likes, but I decided to go with McDaniel because I don't know if I believe in Tua that much. So I'm going to side with McDaniel pulling this out of Tua despite everyone else in the offseason thinking that it couldn't be done. Because we're seeing Tua take some of these deep shots. He's got an 80 QBR, 258 yards per game, 8 touchdowns, 3 picks, a 109 rating. And he just looked different in those first 3 games than he did all of last year, just any time we've seen Tua out there.
No,
all we
absolutely.
talked about was Tua looking limited. Now, do you still feel like Tua could be limited? I still feel that way. I feel like the dam's going to break at some point.
Yeah.
But from what we've seen so far, Mike McDaniel's got Tua right. He's got him in a good place where a lot of people didn't think it'd be possible. So that's why I got McDaniel up there.
No, I like that, man. For me, I have their commitment to the running game. When you watch them, man, they want to take shots, but everything is predicated off of running the ball. They run a lot of play-action pass, whether it's under center, whether it's in the gun. Whenever they want to stretch the field, whenever they want to do anything pass and operated, a lot of it is going to be based off of the run or run action. So when I look at that and I look at the guys that they have, Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert, man, both of them dudes are explosive. Both of those dudes help out in terms of being able to run the ball, but also being able to be explosive receivers also, man. But when you talk about how this Dolphins offense is ran, yes, Tyreek and Waddle get the praise because they're having the big numbers. But to me, man, when I look at those 2 running backs and more importantly, just the intentions or the intentional, we're going to stick with this. We're going to keep them involved and keep these defenses honest. To me, I like that a lot because as a defender, it makes it a lot harder to defend some of that stuff. Kind of what I was alluding to when I'm talking about these receivers. It's like, man, when they keep handing that ball off, it's like, yo, I don't want to respect it, but I have to. And when you're doing that, as soon as you step up, these guys are getting right behind the depth of the linebackers and shallow of the safeties. It's perfect in terms of how they run it, in terms of the bond that they put some of these defenders in. And when you have a receiver like Tyreek, you know you're not going to want to do a ton of man-to-man. So when you're thinking big picture, it makes perfect sense. If I know I'm getting cover 3, if I know I'm getting zone coverage, I'm run faking every single time to get those linebackers that walk down safety to step up, and I'm hitting that spot right shallow of that safety every single time. And they do it like back to back, back to back, back to back. So definitely have to shout out their commitment to the running game as the third like for me.
We want to read these off in the chat then?
Yeah, man. Let's see what the folks are saying.
All right, I got to scroll up a little bit here. Okay, I got a couple. Dawson Frazier says the wide receiver duo, Wilkins and Xavier Howard.
Yo, Christian Wilkins is nice too, bro. Like, the more I watch him, I'm like, yo, he's super athletic interior part of that D-line.
Jesse Miller. Tyreek. 2, coaching.
Okay.
And 3, Dan Marino.
Shout out to Dan.
Jesse Miller must be a pit guy.
Oh, there he is. Yeah, I hope it's a pit guy.
Shawty Bill says number 8. 8 is a problem. Howard is a dog.
Talking about Ingram?
I don't know who 8 is.
I think he's talking about
Hold
Ingram.
on. Let me pull up.
Is he? I think he's number 8 down there. Right?
He's not. It's because Ingram's 6 down there for sure.
You're right. He said he was 8 then.
Wow. I mean,
because Phillips is 15. The other pass rusher.
I'm trying to. Maybe he means Ingram, but Ingram's kind of falling off a little bit.
Yeah, Ingram. Man, even when he win, it ain't like how he normally win. He looked heavy to me.
Javon Holland.
Oh,
I thought he was number 9 for some reason.
I did not think he was 8 either. Good call.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Javon Holland's really good.
Yeah, because I was like, bro, Ingram, like, he got numbers, but he ain't doing it like that. Yeah.
Jesse Miller. Oh, no, I already read this. We got Country Malik, 48. Tyreek Hill, Waddle, X-Man, their corner.
Oh, all right, I got one right here. Trey Mason Jr., he says Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, and the uniforms. Yeah, the uniforms is kind of dope. I like the uniforms.
I saw someone post this on Twitter somewhere, but it would be really cool if we were able to go back to our block jersey numbers for this one. Maybe even pull out the gray face mask and the Dolphins ran with their throwbacks as well.
I like it.
And it could go either way. It could go the Steelers rocking the black ones with the white block numbers, or you could go white with the black, and Dolphins could go either white or they go with the teal.
Have we done block numbers with the white jersey yet?
No.
Yeah. I don't know.
That'd be hard.
That would be.
Let's see what else. Javi Berg, Tyreek, Howard, and Armstead.
Here we go. A man that's willing to be truthful. Hannibal 090. The weather. Shout out. Tyreek. Shout out. And he went with Waddle.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are on the same accord then.
Yeah. I like it. All right. Well, then let's flip the script one time then. Ployo. Oh, and shout out to Steven Brooks. He said smash the like button. Absolutely. I would repeat the rest of it. You know, I can't finish that like that. But yeah, man, on top of, or on behalf of Steven Brooks, make sure y'all hit that like button, baby. Shout out.
You want me to start?
Of course. In the chat, drop the 3 things that you do not like after you do like this vid. Greatly appreciate you.
Okay. First one.
What you don't like?
Vibes around the team right now.
Ooh.
Bad continuity at quarterback with Tua getting hurt. And then they bring in the Skylar Thompson dude. They got Teddy Bridgewater. So they've had 3 different quarterbacks start over the last, 3 or 4 games.
This is accurate.
And this is coming off of them starting 3-0, having some momentum. Now they're 0-3. And then just the vibes around the Tua concussion stuff because, you know, that's going to be a topic of conversation.
Well, because you can't trust
And it
them.
has been. It has been a topic,
there.
but it's going to continue to be a topic for who knows how long.
How you want to it should be. We should keep talking about it because they tried to tell us it was a back injury. Y'all lied to us. You liars.
It's just bad vibes right now. They had good vibes for the first 3 games. These
really
last 3 are bad vibes.
It's bad.
So that's
it's like a cloud
one of the
hanging over their head.
Dislikes that I got
and
for them.
Rightfully so. Yeah. All right. Well, you know, my first deal is this offensive line? Yeah. Not the biggest fan of their situation up there, man. In fact, I'm very excited about certain situations that they have going on that offensive line. But yeah, that's where I start, man. I think that you can get after them up front, man. Whether you're talking games or one-on-ones. I think this is one of those groups that we should feel very confident about in terms of our guys up front, man. So got to start with that, man.
Ooh, this one's a big one for me.
That's what she said too.
Defense as a whole. You got Howard getting torched this year. They don't really have much pressure. They don't have one guy that's really cooking like we have, at least Highsmith, or if TJ Watt was healthy, we could
Phillips
rely
is
on
straight, but he doesn't win a ton of one-on-ones, but I like his game, though.
But just overall, they're like one of the last teams in pressures, quarterback knockdowns, sacks.
Mm-hmm.
They can't get to the quarterback. They don't turn the ball over either.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the turn. I think they only have like 1 or 2 for the season.
Yeah.
I feel like they're weak on the interior. Their middle linebackers aren't that amazing. And just overall, their defense is, I think, a bottom.
Roberts, you ain't feeling.
No, they're bottom. They're like a bottom 5 or 6 defense across the board in terms of like yards given up, touchdowns given up, and then their red zone defense is in like the bottom 3 as well.
Yeah.
So I just think their defense as a whole. Now, it's gonna sound like I'm completely trashing them. It's weird because I still respect the talent that they have. You bring up Xavier Howard. All right, maybe he's just having an off year, but he's still someone you're always going to take into account for. Dude brought up Javon Holland. They also have Jalen Phillips. Melvin Ingram, he's a talent, even though he's tailed off a little bit from his hot start.
Wilkins.
Yeah, they have a bunch of like talented dudes.
Yeah.
They're just not playing good as a unit this year.
Very true. Very true. For me, I say quarterback.
Whoa, you went there.
Because it does not matter who you put out there, quarterback. I do not like any of them. Okay? Teddy Two Gloves, that's my dude. Big Teddy Two Gloves fan. Would not want Teddy Two Gloves as my quarterback, though. Okay? Tua. At times, he's looked good. At times, he's looked very, very fluky. I still think he's very fluky. And he's coming off of 2 very traumatic experiences, and just as a player who's been through some injuries.
Sunday Night Football, too.
Yeah.
A lot of bright lights.
Man. You a fool. But very
I wasn't
true,
even trying to make that joke, but there's
going
to be a lot of attention on him.
No, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. But what I was referring to, though, in just the sense of when you go through some of that trauma, man, some of these injuries, especially some of the violent ones, it does have a residual effect. It does, especially early on. You're thinking about it. No matter what we say publicly, we think about it when we're on that field. Up until you kind of build up that cachet again of, all right, I'm good again. All right, this is going to hold up. This injury is no longer an injury anymore. So for Tua, man, you got to think the last time he was on the field, he went through one of the most traumatic experiences as a player that you can go through. We say getting knocked out completely sleep like that is traumatic. And then the other side is kind of what my man Shazier went through when you're just laid out and it's like, yo, he can't move. You know, those are very traumatic. And at times, man, when dudes get back out there, they do see ghosts. They are a little bit more cognizant, a little bit more cautious.
That's what a lot of people thought was going on with Mason Rudolph after that Earl Thomas hit the Ravens.
Seriously, it changes you, man. It makes you a little skittish at times, man, and rightfully so. This is very traumatic. So with that being the same vein and knowing that, you know, what he went through in that short span of time, yeah, I do feel like that's going to have an effect on him, And that's before we even get to me just thinking that he's not an elite guy in terms of being an elite quarterback. I don't think he's that just yet. I think that he could tap into it potentially, but right now I haven't seen it consistently enough. So, yeah, I got to go quarterback, man, because that's the guy that they're hoping is going to, you know, get him off of the skid and save the day.
I couldn't go there because I didn't include Tua technically in my likes, and I didn't have him in my dislikes just because I'm with you. I'm with you because I don't believe it. Trust me, I don't believe it.
I don't wish bad on him. I hope the dude never has another concussion a day in his life, and I hope that he goes on to have a great career after this week. I'm just specifically talking about Tua, the football player,
and how that could have an effect on his play too, as well.
What it does a lot of times have effects because I've been through these injuries. I've communicated with my teammates who've been through these injuries, even opponents that've been through type of injuries like that, and it's like, no, bro, it does. You think about it, and I could think, man, just in the simple fact when I dislocated my elbow, bro. When I came out there that next week, it was one thing to practice. Because in practice, I knew wasn't nobody going to hit that elbow. Wasn't nobody going to touch that thing. It was braced up. I felt good, Deke. Man, I ran on that first play. I'm out there. I'm like, oh, my God. Please don't touch this arm. And you do that for, you know, a whole game. Just think, it's a good. All right, let me protect it. So, yeah, man. But like I said, it's not a shot to it in terms of his health. It's just the player. Because he's going to play, right? If he wasn't playing, we wouldn't be talking about him. But we're talking about him as a player.
Yeah. I couldn't go all the way there of giving him too much credit to be the main topic of my likes. So I had to skirt around it, make it Mike McDaniel. And then the dislike, man. I didn't want him to make him my main topic for dislike either, just because I'll respect how he played these first 3 or 4 games. I don't believe it going forward, though. I really don't. I'm with you.
Show me, bro.
That's why I wanted to talk about continuity and Tua being out. That's what I dislike about the team, the vibes.
4 games, that sound good.
I'm with you. Dude, listen, I'm with you. I'm just going to give him respect because he fought like a warrior in those first 3 games. No, I thought a lot of it was fluky because their drives would stall out and he'd get like a 4th and 7 and throw an absolute dot and like double coverage.
Like a 4th and 17. It'd be like a 4th and 12. You're like, bro, what is this? It tips off of somebody's shoulder. Oh, completion, 30 yards. You're like, what? Yes.
Like, it's cool. He did some good stuff, but I just don't know if his play is sustainable.
Yeah.
All right. I did my 2. I said vibes and defense. Yeah. And then I just got a smorgasbord for this last one. Penalties. They're one of the most penalized teams in the league.
This is definitely true.
You talk about the run game. They do stay committed to it, but I don't think they have that good of a run game. 137 yards was their only game in the triple digits. Everything else, 65 yards, 86 yards, 41 yards, 85 yards, 73 yards, which I think plays greatly into our hand.
Oh, 100%.
I don't like their depth. I hinted to this in the likes. I don't like their depth at receiver outside of Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. They don't really have a third guy. Should be Mike Gesicki, but they don't utilize him that much. And then I don't know if this is going to change with Tua coming in because they weren't turning the ball over with him as much, but there's been a lot of turnovers with their team recently. Yeah. Their turnover percentage because, as I said, they can't turn the ball over on defense, or at least they haven't been, and they've been turning it over with this Teddy Bridgewater, Skylar Thompson experiment too. I don't know if it's going to change with Tua or not, but I like our chances with Flores and then Tomlin being a Sunday night game.
Yeah, and us getting healthy on the back end as well.
True.
I'm about to say something. Definitely excited about that.
So there's just a lot of there's a lot of things I don't really like about this Miami thing, to be honest with you.
And looking at some of the comments in the chat, man, it's gonna be some funny stuff that we don't like. They don't like as well. The third thing though that I do not like about this Dolphins team is their pass defense communication. When you watch them, they play a ton of man. Talk about Xavier and Howard, but because they play so much man, teams will cross and route and bunch concept them to death. And their communication is very hodgepodge. Sometimes they're playing and they're all on the same page and it looks great. Other times they're running into each other 5-6 yards downfield. You're like, bro, what is happening here? But it's a lack of everybody being on the same page. Corners, safeties included, nickel, like all of them. At some point in time, they blow assignments, they miscommunicate, they pick each other off. So to me, when I see that, if I'm at Canada, I'm like, okay, we know we're going to get a ton of man-to-man. Let's have that already schemed up. The Minnesota Vikings did a great job of that last week. Kirk Cousins, Captain Kirk, he was out that thing slinging it. I don't know if you're saying he was slinging that thing.
He only had like 170 yards.
Nah, it was true. It was more so the receivers doing what they need to do afterwards. But in all seriousness, though, in terms of like their ability to pick up yards, their ability to get guys open, it did stem a lot from that right there. The reason they didn't have to throw it too much, though, Dalvin Cook was able to do what he wanted to do, too. But, yeah, pass defense communication is, the big thing for me, man, in terms of what I don't like about them.